Hey guys, this is Awesome John 22 coming at you today with a long time coming review. As I adjust my camera, even while I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, a bunch of very minor things came up in conjunction that really pushed off me filming this review. It was supposed to come several days ago at the very latest. Not to mention, sometimes, let's just put it this way, sometimes life is just unforgiving. Maybe we'll get into that more later. I am planning on reviving the awesome vlogs relatively soon. Maybe the reasoning behind that vague statement will be part of the revived awesome vlogs. But yeah, this is a joint review of two figures at once because, quite frankly, these Playmates Toys videos don't take nearly as long as Transformers videos do, and I feel like I'm cheating you guys a little bit making them so short. So I decided to do two at once, two masters, Master Splinter and the Shredder, from the new movie toy line. And if you haven't checked it out yet, my blog does have a text review of the movie. I think you guys are going to kick out of it. Short review, I actually did enjoy the movie. I would still prefer to watch the cartoon, or, well, any of the cartoons, or the old 90s movie more, but it wasn't bad, and it was a decent jumping off point for future movies, provided that they do get better. There's no guarantee that that'll happen, but I have faith, maybe too much faith, but I am riding high considering that just recently Michael Bay announced that he will not have anything further to do with the Transformers movie franchise. And made me happy, made me a little happy. But yeah, I advertised this a while ago with a video that I edited together that I thought was pretty cool, where I kind of played up their meeting in the movie, and I guessed at some of the relationships between these characters in this new movie, and I was completely wrong. I assumed they would go with the more recent backstory for Splinter and make him the mutated Hamato Yoshi, a backstory that has occurred several times in various iterations of the franchise. But no, in fact, Hamato Yoshi is not a part of this new film franchise at all. As far as we know, he doesn't even exist. The Splinter has never met, or the Shredder has never met Splinter. Dear God, cut that out. Never met him before. Splinter only knows about Shredder because... Actually, first, let me mention there will be spoilers about the movie in this review. I'm going to talk about Splinter's backstory. Straight up, talk about Splinter's backstory right now. If you don't want to see that, I've never done it before. I will try to put an annotation in the movie with a link to the end of the spoilerific section. But if I can't do that, I will at least put an annotation with the time at which that ends, and you can find it for yourself. But anyway, everybody gone who wants to be gone? Okay. Spoilers for the movie. Splinter's just a lab rat. And he's not even, like, technically a lab rat. He's like a sewer rat that they found and are using as a lab rat, it looks like, because he doesn't look like... He looks like a wild rat, not a domesticated one. And the turtles are lab creatures, too. And they're all together, and they see the machinations of the villain, and they hear him mention that he's working with the Shredder. I'm assuming they don't actually mention this outright, but I'm assuming this is what happens. And so after everything happens and they're in the sewer and they're mutated, they know about the Shredder. Well, Splinter knows about the Shredder because the turtles are still kids, and he knows that something has to be done about them, and that as a rat all he can do is fight him himself and train his sons to fight the Shredder themselves. So he comes across these books on ninjutsu, and he teaches himself ninjutsu, and then teaches the turtles ninjutsu so they can defend themselves and eventually the city. And first of all, some people don't like that at all. I think it actually serves to enhance Splinter's coolness factor, because he was able to teach himself from a book to master ninjutsu. That's insane and impressive. But, no, yeah, Hamato Yoshi has nothing to do with this at all. Never mentioned. He has nothing to do with Splinter's mastery of ninjutsu, his training, his sense of morality. All of that comes from, and if you haven't seen the movie, this is the big one. All of that comes from April O'Neil. April O'Neil knew them when they were lab animals because her father worked on them. And she is where they got their sense of morality from. She's their guardian spirit. And quite frankly, I like Splinter in the movie. I think he's cool. And I don't particularly mind some elements of that, but that's taking a little too far. And it bothers me a little bit, especially when you have Megan Fox as the actress who has to carry that character. But now, with the spoilers over, we're going to go ahead and get right into the review proper. Because, as I said, I do like Splinter in the movie, and I definitely like Shredder. He's very, very cool. Though, he could have been cooler. Let's just put it that way. So let's move in. Let's look at the Shredder first. We can see not particularly 100% accurate to its appearance in the movie. His armor does have, though, really cool detail here. And he has, like, these hollowed out eyes, rather than regular eyes, that are supposed to make it look, I guess, like it's darkened in there. And it kind of works, but it's also kind of absolutely terrifying. Now, in the movie, we see there is gold all over this, all over the chest plate, all over everything. There's, like, little bits of gold engravings and stuff, and that's just not present here at all. It's got these cool blades. However, in the movie, and I'm going to keep saying in the movie, these blades fold up into one single blade. They're longer, thicker, and more straight. And they can shoot off, and then he can repel them back. I also believe there was 4 on each arm rather than 3. And so while that looks cool and everything, the ones in the movie are so much better, and it makes these look dinky and pathetic. His cape is very cool. It looks like it's like this Kevlar-y mesh stuff. It's very flowing, and it detaches very easily, so you're not going to end up breaking it by moving it around and tearing it or something. And get it back in there. There we go. And I like his, moving up a little bit. I like his head crest a lot. It looks very, very cool. In terms of articulation, he's pretty good. He's about Playmate standard. He moves. Knees barely bend at all. Wow. Moves there. Is there a movement at the wrists? I think there actually is. Yeah, there's actually movement at the wrists, despite the fact that there's absolutely no reason for there to be. Bends fine at the elbow, despite the fact that my elbow joint's actually kind of loose. Up and down, yay far at the shoulder, with these moving to add extra clearance. And a full 360, and a full 360 at the head. Pretty standard. But because there is just so much armor here, and because Playmate's articulation is only good and not great, the most menacing pose you're ever going to get him in is kind of like that, with his blades up, ready to mess somebody up. And I find that this totally keeps collapsing, and making him look like he's leaning over. I think that's kind of a bummer, considering Shredder is a very dynamic character. And that's really all there is to say about Shredder. He's gray and silver, and he kind of has good articulation. He overall is only about standard, and really, I think there are plenty of other Shredder figures out there. What the figure out of these two that really does something cool, I think, is Splinter. So let's move on to him right now. Let's take him out of the way. Splinter here, whereas the Shredder is pretty much generic Shredder, Splinter here is absolutely unique. Angle my light a little bit so you can see this better. Whether you agree with how they designed him or not, you have to admit he looks like nothing we've ever seen before, and it doesn't look bad. It just looks different, and he looks very mouse-like, but he's got the little hair bun that you see on like samurai guys and pictures and stuff, and he's got these cool mustache and beard that, because his face is hairy, look like they're part of the hair on his face, and I think that's an interesting touch. And because his origins are so different in this continuity, we do get some custom clan crests that look like little turtles. And if you look here, he has this little medallion around his neck. It's a separate piece. It has that same... my hand stopped spazzing out. That same turtle crest on it. It's very, very cool. His tail... I wish his tail were posable. In the movie, he uses his tail as a weapon a lot, and it's very, very nifty. And you can't do that here. In fact, his tail pretty much just helps him stand up if he happens to fall backwards. Really cool gold kanji back here. I have no idea what it says, so don't ask. And he does have this medallion, is like I mentioned, a separate piece. I'm not going to take it off because I've got it kind of tucked under the collar where I like it, and I don't want to, screw that up. It is a whole separate piece. You can see the wire here. Well, it's not really wire, it's plastic, but you can see it there. Very little posability in the legs, but he does have these cool, very well detailed little mousy feet. Really great detail in his robes, which didn't quite look like this in the movie, but I can forgive it. And his hands are, everything is very well molded, very well detailed. I love it. Very, very cool. One of my favorite things about it is the way his hands and arms are molded. Yes, their posability is very limited, but he can actually draw his sword. And I just think that is great. And now he's got his sword out, and whether or not this is actually his sword or he just picked up a sword from off the ground where they had been training earlier and used it against the Shredder in their fight, he does use this sword in his fight against the Shredder. And you can see he can hold the sheath in his other hand, and it's a katana. It's like one of Leo's katanas. It's very, very nice. It looks very, very good. As you saw, he rotates at the elbow, but does not bend at the elbow. And I believe he has some wrist articulation, but I'm not going to bother with it because it's very stiff, and I'm always worried I'm going to break the joint. And he can move 360 at the shoulder. And his head rotates, but it's that same kind of sideways rotation as the turtles. So, I don't know. Make of it what you will. And overall, though, a very, very cool-looking figure, much more unique-looking than the Shredder himself. And I like him. I like him a lot. I don't have the Splinter from the new 2012 cartoon as an action figure yet. I know I would like it if I had it, but I really think I would like this one just as much. So, while I don't let's bring them back together now in their action poses. Action poses. No, I promise I'll never do that again. While I don't really wholeheartedly recommend the Shredder, I think he's a cool figure. He looks very cool, but he's about as good as any other recent Shredder figures. So, if you really like the Shredder, I'd pick him up, but really I leave it to your discretion. However, Splinter, I wholeheartedly recommend. I think he's great. Looks great. Great detail, very unique. And I know some people don't think that uniqueness in a beloved franchise is a good thing, but I completely disagree, especially when it comes to Turtles, as I've mentioned, I believe, before. And I know I mentioned it in that review, so you can go check that out if you don't believe me, and, leave a comment, and maybe follow the blog, and I'm plugging myself. No, Turtles is a franchise that is synonymous with revision. No version of the Turtles has ever been exactly like another version of the Turtles. In fact, most versions of the Turtles are radically different than the version that came immediately previous. So, love the movie or hate the movie, it is not any less valid of an interpretation of the Turtles than any other, at least not in my opinion. And so I don't consider these characters any less relevant versions of the characters. I may not agree with everything to do with them, but in the end they end up being recognizable as the characters they're supposed to be, and for that reason I can't hate on them very much. And in fact, in the case of Splinter, really, I I quite like him. He gets stuff done. He's very, very cool. If you go see the movie for anything, go see the movie for him and Michelangelo and Raphael. They made the film and it was great. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about that, which pretty much brings us to the end of this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully the next one will come a little sooner. I am trying to work out things like a schedule and how to promote my YouTube channel and my blog and, you know, myself in general, aside from plugging myself in my own reviews. So that's going to eat up a little bit of time, and I do have stuff going on, but I do plan on bringing you guys some more content, some more Transformers content specifically. So, stay tuned for that. And I do have an idea for a game series coming up. I'm not sure how most of you will feel about it, but I'll certainly have fun doing it. And I actually hope that it will serve to expand my viewer base a little bit while entertaining you guys all the same, which is really all I can hope for in life. I'm really starting to realize that this is something I'd like to do, making videos. I think I'm pretty good at it already, and I think I'm improving pretty much with each video I come out with. So, I'm going to do my best to get things going with that. And I hope you guys will stick with me through that entire process. So, like and subscribe, and if you have any ideas of how I can get any of that done, leave me a comment if you feel so inclined, and in the description down below is a link to my blog, my Twitter, and my collections video. Check out that collection video, and if you see anything in it, and I mean anything at all, that you would like me to review, let me know and I'll see what I can do. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.